Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is so this is another video I'm filming with my phone. I just wanted to quickly just make this one. I don't know if a lot of you have heard about this, so I'm going to read it from the independent.co.uk, and it says Christian broadcaster fined 125,000 pounds for COVID-19 conspiracies. You know, as far as I know, that is over 60 million naira. Okay, let me just read a bit of it and then I'll say what I want to say. So it says Ofcom, which is the broadcasting regulation of the UK, it says has fined a Christian broadcaster 125,000 pounds after it breached the rules by airing inaccurate and potentially harmful claims about coronavirus. Love What Television Network was found to have made the violation back in January after a 29-hour show titled The Global Days of Prayer featured sermons with potential harmful claims about COVID-19, including that the virus was planned and created by the deep state, and vaccines were a sinister means of administering nanochips to control people. Let me just read it because I don't want it to be I said. Let it be that you are seeing exactly as it is on the news. And then it says, it marks the second time in a year that the regulation has ruled against Love World Limited for unsubstantiated claims made about COVID-19 on air. And then it goes on to say, in April 2020, Love World broadcast false claims that the cause of coronavirus was linked to the rollout of 5G technology. During one of the network's news program, a presenter claimed the bogus link represented, in bracket, the largest global cover-up in history. I think that's referring to Pastor Chris. And then he says, the largest global cover-up in history, and continued, this is not coronavirus, but cell poisoning. Remember, 5G started in China. Wuhan is one of the provinces where 5G has been rolled out. These are, if I'm not mistaken, these are the things that Chris Oyakhilome said. Love World was made to explain on air how it was found to have broken the rules, but no further action was taken against the channel in that case. Then he says, Ofcom later said the Christian network had promised to review on its broadcasts to avoid repetition of the 5G conspiracy, use a time delay so live programs could be edited, and educate staff on compliance with Ofcom's code. In its ruling on Wednesday, Ofcom stressed that legitimate debate was fundamental to holding public authorities to account during global crises such as the pandemic, but said the inaccurate and potential harmful claims made during the Global Day of Prayer could not go unpunished because they were unsupported by any factual evidence and went entirely without challenge. The regulation also said it was particularly concerned that the repeat breach came after Love World had pledged to improve compliance. In statement from Ofcom, separate to the decision report, said Love World's failure to put this unsubstantiated statement into context risked serious harm to its audience. They had the potential to undermine confidence in public health measures put in place to tackle COVID-19 at a time when cases, hospital admissions and deaths were rising in the UK, and when people were looking for reliable information given advances in vaccination program. Love World, also known as Christ Embassy, is an evangelical Christian ministry founded in Nigeria and led by a pastor called Chris Oyakhilome. I saw that I wanted to come here and just read it. There are a few things I want to say. There were a lot of things this pastor said. I know I've made videos about things like this before. There are people that, unfortunately, they just follow somebody in the name of a pastor. They don't take a second and reflect. There was one thing I said before. I said, this pastor is from a country, if I'm not mistaken. I used to think he lives in South Africa, but some people say he lives in Nigeria. Okay, if he's a Nigerian, he lives in Nigeria. If he lives in Nigeria, a country where we are suffering because of corruption, right? We're talking about bad roads, quality of education. Universities are going on strikes indefinitely. Okay, people go to school and they spend, instead of spending 4 years to get their degrees, they are spending 8 years and 7 years to get a degree in Nigeria. ASU strike, no stable electricity, bad roads. There are just so many problems we have in that country. This pastor has never, as far as I know, been vocal. He's never been vocal about the problems in Nigeria, right? And then when there was a pandemic, the whole world was basically shut down. And they said there was a lockdown. And they said churches cannot open. Even when COVID came, he still was not saying anything. Let's be honest. Even when COVID started, this pastor wasn't even saying anything. The only time, let's use our brains. The only time this man came out to talk about microchip and conspiracy theories and 5Gs and everything was when the churches were asked to close. When the churches were asked to close, that strategic timing, that particular timing is enough for people to let the scales fall off your eyes and ask questions. Tell yourselves the truth. I personally said it, and I'm saying it again, that it never bothered him. All the problems in Nigeria was not his problem because he is rich and he is mighty. You know, his children can afford the best education in the world. You know, they can afford, him and his family can afford the best healthcare. And he has private jets and all of those things. So the problems of the country, the problems of the people were not his problem. But do you know why COVID seems to be a problem that he's carried on his head? As far as I'm concerned. And I'm asking that question. Why is it that it's when it got to when they said churches close and they were no longer tithes and offering flowing and business was no longer as usual, that all of a sudden he has become vocal about the problems of the people? You know, when you talk, some people think you are attacking pastors. This is not about attacking pastors or whatever. I'm just saying, spend the time to reflect. Think about, why is this man so vocal when the churches were asked to lock down? When there was a lockdown and the churches were asked to close? Why? Why has he not used the same energy to discuss all the other problems that have been affecting everyday citizens? You know why? Because those other problems, they don't affect him. That's it. That is the fact. That is the fact. If this man, let's be honest, if this Pastor Chris has been vocal about the healthcare problems in Nigeria, the poor quality of the bad roads, the bad corruption we talk about in the country, if he's talked about the poor healthcare and other problems in the country, and then this happens and then he speaks, we're going to be like, yes, he has always been the voice of the people. I made a video where I listed some of the things that Martin Luther King did in his time. How this man spoke up about so many things happening in his community. So whenever he spoke, people knew that he gave a damn about the people because he spoke a lot about the struggles of the people. Not someone that has been quiet all the while until it was a problem that affects him. The churches were closed. The private jets were not allowed to fly. You get what I'm trying to say? That is enough. Because now, this, according to him, they were going to insert microchip into people. If I'm not mistaken, I think he said something like the vaccination will be a microchip. A lot of the things he said, you know, unfortunately, a lot of these kind of pastors, they're already too idolized. People look up to them so much that they never believe that these people can be wrong. So they don't even question them. They just sit down there and they just swallow everything that's been thrown at them. Just use a bit of, you know, if God did not want us to use our brains, he wouldn't have given us any brains. Use the brain sometimes and think about things. You see, this is UK that they are telling him to pay fine. You know, if it's Nigeria, they will never tell him to pay fine because some people are too big. You know, there are some people that are basically bigger than the government of the country. But this is a UK. It's not Nigeria where you can do whatever and get away with it. Those that will say, judge not. Go and tell the UK government now to judge not. Go and tell the UK government, touch not my anointed. Go and tell them all of that. When people don't want to listen to the truth. And since this thing has been going on, why has he not actually said, okay, this COVID is blah, blah, blah. Let them, you know, because sometimes people say, oh, they have branches all over the world and they have mighty mega followers and everything. Why have they not come together as a church, as mighty as they are, and find the solution of COVID? Or even prove it that COVID is fake? Because they should be, why don't they go create a lab and whatever? And they should have a lot of mighty people among them to prove that COVID is fake. They should have done that. He has been fined over 60 million naira. Over 60 million naira for what he said. I personally, I'm going to say this. A lot of you would have noticed that COVID-19 has opened a lot of eyes. If it has not opened your eyes, you're on your own. No. Because I don't know what else you need to open your eyes. The people that prophesy from every single year they prophesy, they didn't prophesy that COVID was coming. They didn't see it coming. If these things do not open your eyes, I wonder what else is. I'm just going to I have a message coming through. That's the thing about filming with a phone. You get messages popping up. Okay, you know, with his position and his platform, when Martin Luther King used his platform and his position to speak against injustice in his country, till tomorrow Nigeria were talking about end SARS, people like him were silent. So if he has not spoken up about other things in the country, why should you believe for a second that he's coming out to speak about COVID? Because he has the interest of the people at heart. So those are the things you have to sit down and ask yourself. Why did he wait until it was a situation that warranted shutting down the country, you know, lockdown, private jets were not allowed to fly, you know, and churches were closed. And that was when he became vocal. And he has never been vocal about every other problem in the country. It's left for you to sit down and think about it. That's all I'm going to say. As always, whatever your opinions are, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And with that, I'm just going to say thank you for watching. Until the next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.